So this is the third time that I've sat down to take this intro video because I wanted it to be like effortless and whatever. So naturally, I wrote a script because that's who I am. Um, so this is how we're gonna start it. Hi there. My name is Remy, and I'm the author of Chronic Dissatisfaction, which is a collection of poetry that I published last year. I did a pre-sale campaign before the launch date, and I got all these pre-sales in, the book launched, it was doing well. And I told myself, oh, I should make a YouTube channel for it. I still have a lot of you that have purchased my poetry, and I feel like I want to step away from the Instagram platform, even though I did get a good amount of traction through there, just because it kind of all does feel like we're shitting out the same content, for lack of better terms. If it works, it works, and you do it to get yourself out there. But I don't feel creative, and when I do something creative and it doesn't get the validation, um, then it's like, oh, is there something wrong? So I'm here to try to do something a little more organic, to go deeper into my poetry, why I write, and to get comfortable not carefully curating every Instagram post, every caption, even like journal entries. I feel like I edit as if somebody's going to eventually read them. So here we are, 1 year later, starting this YouTube channel to do just, all of that. I feel like it took me so long to start this YouTube channel. I'm not going to blame it on procrastination or because I had a lot going on, which, is valid. I do procrastinate and I did have a lot going on. But I feel like when you want something to happen, you prioritize it and you make it happen. The reason why it took me a year to make the decision to sit down and do this, aside from like, this is going to be so awkward and I can't even hold eye contact with a person, let alone a video camera. But it's because I pick up the book now and I read through the poems, um, mainly, for content ideas and things like that. And I don't feel like it's a part of me anymore. Like the words on those pages are just words on a page, they're just another story. And even in the editing process, when I wrote these poems months, years ago, and now I'm putting them together and I'm sending it to other people and I would get feedback, I would feel like this carnal emotion towards some of those poems. I would feel like I got hit in the gut again by certain people that the poems are about and certain situations that I put myself in. Like I would feel shame. And now I don't feel any of that, which is, arguably a good thing. But how genuine could I be if I'm talking about something that invokes no emotion in me? But I'm going to try because, you know, those stories are a part of me and someone else will benefit from going deeper and having these conversations. And I say that because I'm someone that a lot of the times I don't have anybody to talk to, which is why I write so much, because you try to make sense of the world around you through reading what you're writing. So hopefully this YouTube channel starts a lot of conversations. And there was an interesting phenomenon that happened once the book launched, and that is that people felt compelled to reach out to me to discuss it, which obviously that was something that was going to happen, but it just didn't cross my mind. And I'm the kind of person that likes to mentally prepare myself for everything. And that's something that I was not mentally prepared for. I wasn't mentally prepared for strangers, and I was definitely not mentally prepared for people from my past who I went to school with and didn't even know that well to feel the need to reach out to me. And this is all in a positive light. I got some people that shared their stories with me, and we had very in depth conversations about their love life and why they did the things that they did. I also had some people reach out to me almost, this sounds so like I'm stroking my ego, but it's true. They did reach out to me saying, like, thank you for putting the words on the page that I couldn't express, which is something that is one of the main reasons why I write. And that's why I wanted to make a YouTube channel a year ago to kind of dive deeper into my poetry and the topics that I discuss around mental health and relationships and healthy self love and outward love, but also the mucky part of our life that nobody ever really talks about, of struggling with, substances and depression and the pitfalls of it all. Yeah, it was hard to get on here and see the value in continuing to romanticize that part of my life while being genuine about the things that I've written about, especially after self publishing, which took so much of my brain power. And then I felt like I couldn't lean in toward my artistic side anymore. I had to focus on, self promoting, and that, the momentum for that quickly dwindled. So that melded into this list of priorities that I have that I don't know how to prioritize. And that kind of makes me wonder if one of the reasons why I try to do so much is because I like lack some sort of direction in my life, or if I'm trying to like be really optimistic that I could do it all. I could, aside from writing, do my UX design, do little gigs here and there, and be all of these people in the body of like one person and still be happy. I don't know. And then I go through periods of like unhuman motivation where that's when I try to like maximize all of my time and like do everything and plan everything. And the planning takes up so much of my energy that when it's time to do, that's when it turns into like a list with no sort of driving force behind it to get anything done. So I don't know. I don't have the answer for that, but stay tuned. Maybe I'll have an answer someday. So another goal for the channel, aside everything that I just talked about, is kind of like a means to hold myself accountable, because I do have a lot of ideas and a lot of things that I want to do and push out there, but I'm not going to let anyone down if they don't get done, which I shouldn't operate from this standpoint, but I do sometimes. So since there's nobody to let down, I feel, and I won't be disappointed in myself if it takes forever for me to get something done, you know, Exhibit A. Um, but I don't know. I feel like the ideas accumulate and I subconsciously start feeling very stagnant in my life, and like time is slipping away from me, especially when I don't take the time to write or paint or have some sort of human interaction, even if it is through a video or online. I'm hoping that through this I could find the motivation, maybe use the momentum of these free flowing thoughts to birth new prompts, and get out of my comfort zone, because if it was up to me, I would just be in bed, like writing, and then scratching and writing and pretending like somebody's going to read my journals. And that comes from definitely childhood trauma, but that's a whole other thing. Um, so yeah, I want to get better at having or accepting my authentic self, because I do feel like I put myself out there pretty heavily with the things that I wrote about that everybody read. And yet somehow I still pretend like I'm this like, well, I don't pretend, I kind of am Like I'm this shy, quiet, don't look at me person. Um, but I'm not going to get what I want out of life by being that way. Also, lately, I feel like every passion project of mine has been driven by some sort of monetary gain. Um, and it makes me just want to choke on my words. But I finally understand why people say, like leave it as a hobby and don't try to make your hobbies your main source of income. Even with painting, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna sell prints or I'm going to put it up at a gallery. And it's like, then I feel like I let myself down when I look at a finished painting and I'm like, oh, I like this, but I would hate if somebody else saw this or somebody else is not going to like this. And it makes me want to like scrap everything that I did. So it's like I'm not even painting for myself. So I do want to touch or circle back to something that I brought up earlier, which is how many people reached out to me to discuss the book and how that is something genuinely that looking back through this whole journey has brought me joy. Um, that something so simple as a couple poems, strewn together can elicit such vulnerable responses out of an audience. And it was great to have those conversations and be able to tell somebody else I understand and they understand too, and it's honest. A big part of my choice to share these experiences and put myself out there like I do was to hopefully give others the platform and the voice that they were struggling to find, especially when you're in this like whirlwind of relationships that's not limited to relationships with others. Our relationships with ourselves can get very tumultuous sometimes. Um, and I don't know, a thought that just popped in my head is, if we operate from a low frequency, then that's all we're going to attract. But that's a conversation for another day. I don't know if I'm running out of things to talk about, but now my brain is only thinking in quotes. And there's one from a book that I've been reading. So I did find the quote that I was thinking of. It's from a book called The Defining Decade. And I think I'm just going to end the video on this note. The quote says, "The one thing I have learned is that you can't think your way through life. The only way to figure out what to do is to do something." So this is my attempt at doing something. And if you sat through this whole video, just thank you. Also, I'm going to be leaving my email and Instagram in the description because, like I've emphasized through the whole video, I would love to have an ongoing conversation about anything that you feel you need to get off your chest regarding, maintaining healthy relationships, your mental health state, and how to pull yourself out of this darkness that we go through sometimes. I am taking a social media break right now. It's not going great. I'm like making up excuses to check Instagram almost every day, but I think I'm on gearing toward a week already. I haven't posted anything or looked at any notifications, but you know, it is what it is. I think I'm going to post this video within the next week and I'm trying to do 30 days. So the best way to reach me would be through my email if you want like a quick response. But the fun way to reach me would be to leave me a message, and that way I can like kind of compile all of them and maybe make a video, like a Q&A style video or a sharing time video. I don't know. Now I'm just like, this is what I'm talking about. The ideas, they never stop. And talking about ideas that have not come to fruition, I also have been thinking about hosting interviews or just solely listening to people's stories and eventually piecing them together and making a book about anonymous short stories, maybe with some illustrations. So, again, if you want to be a part of that and you want more information of that right away instead of waiting for a video, um, you can go ahead and reach out. So, okay, I think I'm done now.